Dayton Dunbar broke open a close game against Thurgood Marshall by hitting 11 of its 14 free throw attempts in the fourth period to win convincingly 79-53 on Friday night at Nutter Center. This is a very intense Dayton City League rivalry, and neither one of these brand new gyms that these schools have was big enough to accommodate this crowd. But they didn't get the matchup that they thought they were going to get, as Thurgood Marshall once again was unable to put their best 5 players on the floor. Leading scorer Mark Allstork was out of this game due to disciplinary reasons. Lineup instability leads to lineup inconsistency, and that's attested to by their 26 turnovers on this night. JJ Huddle was there to document the state's #1 D2 team, the Dunbar Wolverines, in a surprisingly easy test. This is JJ Huddle HD. Hi, my name's Alex Sater, and I'm your host, and after this game, I had the good fortune of running into Tim Walshevin.
Hey Alex, this game was advertised as a big-time showdown, and the first half lived up to its billing. Dunbar only led by 8 points, it was still anybody's ball game, but let me tell you, the second half, that really screamed refund as Dunbar just blew by Marshall 79-53 in the nightcap of a Dayton City League triple header at the Nutter Center on the Wright State University campus. I must say the difference maker was Deontay Hawkins, Andre Yates, and Gary Iba. They had too much length, athleticism, and skill set for Marshall. The Cougars couldn't really compete. They couldn't keep up with the pace. They eventually wore down. They started making mistakes, and Dunbar pounced on them.
Thurgood Marshall actually had a plan here, in the second half. You had Yates, and you also had Akbar with 4 fouls apiece, and this could have been a situation where if they had hit their foul shots, they could have stayed in this game, but alas, they did not.
Yeah, and that's a glaring stat. Thurgood Marshall was 17-27 from the foul line, 63%. Yeah, I mean, that's horrible. Whereas Dayton Dunbar was 18-23, 78%. And that's very important for Dunbar because they entered this game as a team shooting about 63-64% from the foul line. So Pete Pullen had to be pleased with that. And not only the 78%, but they made 11 out of 14 in that fourth period. So they only missed three free throws. But, I mean, that's when they blew them out within the fourth quarter. They outscored them 29-16 in the fourth quarter alone.
Why don't you give us some of the other stats that you have?
Yeah, sure. And before I even get to the stats, once again, Thurgood Marshall was playing without one of their starters. This time it was Mark Allstork. He was the team leading scorer, 17 points a game. He was suspended. That's curious to find out exactly how many games Thomason and Allstork have actually been able to play together as a team. So anyway, they need to get that taken care of if they want to make a run this year, that's for sure. Rebounding was fairly even. Dunbar out-rebounded them 28-25. But another glaring stat, Thurgood had 26 turnovers. Field goal percentage, poor shooting by Marshall. They were 16 of 48, 33%. but attribute that to Dunbar's defense. And Dunbar shot well tonight. The whole game, they were 28 of 55, 51%. And then I already alluded to the foul shooting. So it was a great shooting performance, a great defensive effort. I'm sure Pete Pullen has to be pleased. They're now 16-0. The last 12 meetings with Thurgood, they hold a 10-2 advantage, and I believe that was either their 29th or 30th straight Dayton City League game. That's not counting the loss last year, obviously, to Thurgood in the tournament, but they've won 29 straight Dayton City League games.
Thurgood had Joe Thomason back. How did he do?
Joe Thomason was the bright side. It seems like he was the only one that showed up to play tonight, to be honest. His energy level was up there. He had a nice game. He had 21 points. So, and he was the only player in double figures. It's just total domination by Yates, Akbar, and Hawkins. Hawkins really impressed me. He's going to Wichita State. He's a lanky 6'8" senior forward, but he plays even taller than 6'8". He has excellent ball handling skills. He ended up with 22 points. He was and he showed some range. He was 1 for 1 from three-point land. He only got to the foul line one time, but he converted it. Then another brilliant performance by their point guard, Andre Yates. He's headed to Creighton. Just think those two will go at it in the Missouri Valley League next year. Yates had 21 points. He knocked down 3 threes, but what really impressed me about him was his ball handling. He just did a magnificent job of running the offense, controlling the tempo, not forcing anything, and his other running mate at guard, who shared point position with him, little freshman A.J. Harris, had 9 points. Akbar finished with 9 points, but he was saddled with foul trouble most of the game, so he really didn't get a chance to get into any rhythm. But he still had 9 points and probably close to 10 rebounds, so it was well balanced. A couple kids came off the bench and performed well for him too. William Green had 7 points. Chris McGuire came off the bench, scored 6. The coach was very pleased with Green and McGuire's defensive effort. I thought all of Dunbar's guards did a nice job of pressuring Thurgood Marshall's guards, forcing them into turnovers, forcing them to stretch their offense way out of perimeter, not really getting into any continuity at all, because they were just totally harassing them.
I mean, you can handle the pressure, number 12.
It's starting practice. Like we go hard all during practice all week, and as you see, it shows on the court. We got a lot of good players coming off the bench and off the bench. Gary Akbar got in trouble. Got in some foul trouble earlier, but Dre stepped up, played some good offensive ball, basketball.
It's just, coming with Dunbar, it's just that attitude and the swagger that you gotta be the best, And for practice, at times can be harder than the game. And, you know, that's one of the positives of me coming over to Dunbar is every day, you know somebody from the bench can come get your spot.